The thing that's most likely to end your acting career isn't how well you can learn lines, isn't what your casting type is, isn't even how good your headshots are. It's fear of rejection. Rejection is something that all actors have to deal with, and yet it cripples 95% of people's careers. That by the end of this lesson, you'll be so well equipped to deal with rejection that you'll be in the top 5% of actors. So let's look at what rejection is and see why it's so important that actors learn to deal with it. One of the things that will determine your success as an actor is how well you can market yourself. For instance, everyone that's watching this video that's got a show reel should let me know about it because I'm a film producer. But here's the thing, what are the chances of me giving you a job tomorrow from that show reel? In the next week from that show reel? In the next month from that show reel? You've got to think about all the things that have to line up for that to be happening. I've got to be making a piece where I am looking for an actor who is exactly you. So let's assume that in the next year, there is a part that I'm looking for that is exactly you. In that year, let's say that 5 other actors that are exactly the same as you have put their show reel in. And genuinely, this has happened to me. I've been casting a part and 5 of my best mates, 5 well-known stars, have come in to audition for one part. Now, I can only give that one part to one of them, obviously, which means that 4 of them I'm rejecting. But I'm not rejecting them because of their ability as actors. That would be ridiculous. I think they're brilliant actors. Everybody thinks they're brilliant actors, but I can't give them all the part. I'm going to come back later on to something that's quite important about that is in a caster or a producer or a director's mind when that happens, and we'll deal with that later. But this is the really important thing that you have to understand. It doesn't matter where you are in your career, whatever relationship you've got with the director, the producer, they've only got one part to give, and there'll be other people that are going up for it. Now, I'm going to tell you a very quick story about something that happened to me, because this is the first lesson, if you like, about why you need to reframe the thing that you think rejection is. Many years ago, I was going up for a part in what we sometimes call the Scottish play. Now, I said to the director, because I was a bit gobby at that time, I was on telly and what have you, I'm only going to do it if you let me play the lead. I'm only going to let you do it if you let me play Macbeth. And of course he said no. And in fact, he'd already cast Paul McGann as Macbeth. So I didn't get the part. He was thinking of me for another part, but in actual fact, I didn't get any part. And I was devastated. I thought I'd blown everything. I thought that I'd pitched myself too high and I should have accepted a smaller part. I thought that he thought I was arrogant. I thought that he thought that I was a useless actor. All of these things that go through your mind when you've been rejected. Here's the thing though, about 18 months after that, I got a call from my agent saying that that director had been in touch and had offered me the lead in his latest production without any audition. Would I like to do it? Wow. And in fact, I've worked for that director about 4 times since then. So that initial rejection actually didn't have any real effect long term. It hurt at the time, but it didn't really affect my career going forward. So that's the first thing to remember is that rejection isn't necessarily a rejection of you as a person, isn't a rejection of your acting ability. It's just circumstance. And again, later on, I'm going to give you something to think about when that happens. So here's the other thing to think about. Now, you have put yourself in the comments and you have shown me your show reel, okay? And we've established that there is not much chance of me giving you a job fairly quickly as a result of that. You should still do it though, because of what we've just spoken about. Now, let's say that you've submitted 5 applications to people. That's increased your chances of getting something 5 times. It's also increased your chances of being rejected 5 times as well. Now, the truth is, whoever you are probably going to be rejected 5 times from 5 applications. That's just a fact. So get it into your head that maybe you have to do 100 applications to get one job, because putting 5 out and being rejected for all of them has a big negative effect, because that's 100% negativity, 100% rejection. Whereas the bizarre thing is that if you put 100 out and you get 1 response, that isn't 99% rejection. That's 0% rejection, because you've got a job. That's 100% approval. Can you see the mental difference it makes? So what I'm saying there is, prepare for rejection. Accept it. Know that it's going to happen. So I'm going to put a video up there that illustrates this a little bit more. There's a video that I did about Olivia Colman and Anna Gunn playing exactly the same part. Now, you can look at it and see which one of them you think is better, but the point being is that there's hardly any difference between them, but you can only give one of them the part. And that's what you have to understand as an actor. You're not going to get everything that you go up for. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't go up for it, because you should. In fact, I'm going to pause this now and I'm going to show you something that Bryan Cranston said, which, if you haven't seen already, is brilliant. Watch this.
For fellow actors, is this: know what your job is. About 18 years ago, I had this cognition that I realized I was going into auditions trying to get a job. And that simply wasn't what I was doing. It wasn't what I'm supposed to be doing. An actor is supposed to create a compelling, interesting character that serves the text. You present it in the environment where your audition happens, and then you walk away. And that's it. Everything else is out of your control, so don't even think of it. Don't focus on that. You're not going there to get a job. You're going there to present what you do. You act, and there it is, and walk away. And there's power in that. There's confidence in that. And it's also saying, I can only do so much. And then the decision of who might get a job is so out of your control that it really, when you analyze it, it makes no sense to hold on to that.
So there you have it, right? This is the brilliant thing. Somebody said to me once, you know, we don't get paid for acting. We do the acting for free. What we get paid for is the rejection. Start thinking of it like that and combine it with what Bryan Cranston has just said, and you can't lose. Another thing a friend of mine does, which to help with this mindset, is that they have a tick board. And basically they've set the rule that to get a job they have to make 100 applications. And they put those applications on the tick board. Now, when they get no reply or they don't get the job, they put a cross through it, which mentally you might think of as being a negative thing, but they don't, because they've changed their whole perspective on this. They know that's just one of the 99 that are off now, so they only have to get 98 more rejections before they get that job. It just changes their perspective brilliantly and puts them in a much more optimistic, energetic frame of mind, because they know what the end result is. Have you seen what Jim Carrey did when he started off?
You really just...
I really honestly did. I mean, I'm a huge visualizer and a manifester, so I literally spent, you know, every night of my life for about 4 years on Mulholland Drive after I do the comedy clubs, manifesting my life. So I made a check to myself for $10 million for acting services rendered, paid to the order of Jim Carrey, postdated Thanksgiving 1995, stuck it in my wallet, and 6 months before that due date came due, I was making $10 million for a movie. It was an Irish teacher I had in the 2nd grade who said, you know, whenever I want something, I pray to the Virgin Mary and I ask her to ask God for it, and you know, I promise something in return and I get whatever I want. Like that, and I went, I need a bike. I went home and I prayed for a bike, and 2 weeks later I walked into the living room and there was a brand new Mustang bike with a banana seat and you know, chopper handlebars sitting in the middle of the living room. And I said, what's this? And they said, you won it in a raffle. And it turns out I won it in a raffle that I never entered. That a friend of mine went into a sporting goods store and put my name in the raffle as well as his. So that was 2 weeks later. So wow. I've kind of been doing that a lot.
So you see, he knew where he was going. He'd already pre-planned it. Everything was just a step on the way to that. I really want you to know this. I really want you to know that rejection is the most awful thing in the business. It's awful. It's so difficult not to take it personally unless you've got this armour on that we're talking about. Massive superstars have been rejected for massive roles that they really wanted. Do some research about it. Tell me who you find. Put that in the comments too. And remember, there hasn't been a single actor that hasn't been rejected for a role that they really wanted. If you can think of any, let me know, but I bet there's not. By the way, if you've enjoyed this lesson and want to get more from the Acting Academy, please do click subscribe. It really helps us out and it'll help you out too. So here's a video that YouTube are recommending that you watch next. I do hope that you enjoy it. Bye.